Alright, so I actually just went through a 20-minute video where I updated my screencast script so that you can now add project names, you can add file names. It'll actually create separate folders for each day so that they're not all in the same screencast folder because it was getting really messy, as you can see here. And I was doing some programming with you guys and talking about what I was doing. Anyway, so we got to the end of the video and I actually hadn't recorded the audio. So I didn't click this little button. I'm not sure how to set this up so that it's always recording, but yeah, that's what happened. So anyway, I'm not going to go through and pretend like I'm doing this all from scratch again, but I will explain what I've done and how it's changed. So originally, actually we can go back in time with Vim. Cool. So here we go. Now this is what the script looked like earlier, and it was just putting all my screencasts into one folder, adding the date and the time so that they were unique, and also they're ordered correctly. And that was fine. That was fine for a few videos, but you know, after you do a few screencasts, and let's say you do one, and then you do one a few days later, you want to figure out, okay, you know, which ones belong to what video that I'm making, etc., etc. It gets a bit tough. So that's why I had the idea of, well, splitting it into days first of all, just so that if you're doing a video in today, you can just easily see. Or if you recorded a whole video a few days ago and you haven't edited it, if you're editing it, you can just go back to that day and look at the files there. That's cool. That's a nice default behavior, I think. So the way we implement that is we go, well, let's just go through date, time, and then we make the directory, and then we just check if the file already exists. We quit because there's a slight chance if you record two videos at the exact same time on two different days. No, that doesn't make sense. Well, that's probably never going to happen, but it might happen in the future if you name the videos. Anyway, so I also went through the date function a little bit, so we can have a look at that quickly. It's pretty simple. If you just use date, it prints out this, but it has superfluous information like the day, Sunday. It's not really useful. The time zone is not really useful, and there's a lot of spaces, so you don't really want to just use it by itself for a file name. So what I've used, I think, is the K option, which will give you the the year, month, and day separated by dashes. Sorry, no, not K, F, the F option. So that's cool. That is what we want for the folder names or the directory names, and then the capital T format. That'll give us the hours, minutes, and seconds. So that's great. That's what we want for the file name format. So that's basically just what we've done here. We've split it from having them joined together into a directory name and a file name. That's great. So now let's keep going through. What we want is we want to be able to add these options to the bash script, right? So, well, it's not actually a bash. It's not actually a bash script. It's a dash script. Which, hang on, let me see. What am I doing? Is apparently 4 times faster than bash, and it says here that in Arch Linux, bash is the default script. That's what it says right here. But for me it's dash, and I don't think that I set it myself, but I might have just set it and forgot about it. In any case, I found some documentation relevant to this, and that's this page here. It's for something called the corn shell, which is based on Bash, I believe. Anyway, it seems pretty old, so I thought there's a good chance it would work in Dash, because I couldn't find any good Dash documentation, although I didn't look too hard. So this this getOps is just a way to get arguments or parameters that are passed into the script. So what we do is we say while getOps, and then here is where we actually put the parameters. So we want n, and then this little colon is actually saying that n takes an argument. So we do dash n space something, right? And then we do the same thing for p, and then we put it inside this variable o. Right, now we just use a case statement, and initially I was just echoing it out to make sure that it worked, and then I added some usage here. So if you put an invalid argument, I think this question mark means default case. So if you put an invalid argument, it's going to say usage is this, right? And then what did I do? I commented out this so that we could test it, and then that worked. And then I thought, okay, you know, we've got the dash p and the dash n working. Now we need to actually put them into the file name. So I moved a few things around. I'm just going to fast forward through this and then explain it. Alright. So rather than using the date and time directly in the file name, I opted to set the name to time, although I guess, yeah, set the name to time, and then set the project to screencasts/date. Now for me, that means that the file is going to go into my home directory, videos, and then the project, which, if there's no options passed, will be screencasts and then the date. And then the name will be the time, if there's no name option passed. So that's pretty much exactly what we wanted. Now, I also added this here, make directory -p. That's just going to make the project directory if it doesn't exist, and if it does exist, it's not going to do anything bad. So don't worry about that. So why don't we just have a look at, well, I think I have this version of the script running now. So if we have a look at screencasts and then today's date. So in here we've got, what's the time? 14:33. So this is probably 14:24. That would make sense. Let's, yep. However, if we want to now create a project, let's say we're creating a project and it's table, and the name is chair, the name of the file, right? Now we're doing another screencast, and you can see here it's going into videos /table/chair.mkv. Now if we go to table, have a look, there's our file. There it is. It's working as intended. And we can also do just the project name. So let's just do table again, right? And now we're recording another video, but instead of using a specific name, it's using the time right now, which is the default behavior. So there's that one. And let's just make sure that works. Yep, there's nothing wrong with that. And then lastly, well, the default option is what I'm using to record this video right now, so you already saw that. But just for the sake of argument, there we go. Screencasts / today's date and the current time. Perfect. So, it's a shame that the first video was wiped out, but it was 20 minutes long. This one should be a little bit shorter. Anyway, let's just pretend that we went through this again and check them off. So, save a file with the start time of recording as the name. That's kind of confusing sentence, but yeah, that works. No option, save to today's folder. Yep. If today's folder doesn't exist, create it. Yep. And add a -p option to set a project folder. Yep. And add a -n option to name the file something different if you want. That's all done. So that's pretty good, and it only took 20 minutes real time to get that quality of life change. So now if I'm working on a project, it's not going to be so confusing. Like, if you look at the screencasts folder, I had no idea which files were which and what they were for, so I had to play each one. There's probably a tool for looking at thumbnails or something that I'm not aware of, but anyway, that's really all I wanted to say in this video. I hope you got something out of it. I know I did, because, well, it made my life easier, so hopefully it can make someone else's life easier. And I think that's it, so take care, have a great day.